all over the place. It's all different realms of physical healing, mental healing, energy healing. Maybe you could talk a little bit about energy healing, because I know you got your Reiki certificate.
Have 45 minutes or 30 minutes where you're just laying there allowing somebody else to take care of you.
And allowing myself to be. And I think a lot of times people get hard on themselves. So finding that compassion and letting that transfer over into your healing as well.
Yes. You might not be able to put your best effort that day, but you try to do something, and that's enough. And just being present and there, that's all it takes sometimes.
Hello and welcome back to another episode of Blissful Beings. We are your hosts, Dr. Mel and myself, Janine. And on this episode of Blissful Beings, we are going to be diving in to the myth of linear healing. A lot of people think that healing is a straight line filled with milestones, progress, and you're done. No. I'm sorry, but I'm here to tell you that healing is truly living, and you're going to go through cycles of feeling enlightened, feeling awareness, feeling like you learned the lesson, and then for it to just come back up and for you to learn it again. So we're also here to let you know that it's okay when there's setbacks, and that you're just going to get better and better and better and have more awareness every time you go through situations, and just be grateful for the journey. I'm so grateful for the mistakes I made in all my 20s. I'm so grateful for the lessons I didn't learn for a long time until I was just like, wow, I learned my lesson. Sometimes it takes that big wake-up call. We're here to really just connect on healing and what that looks like and how it's different for everyone and how we're all on our own spiritual path.
Yeah.
So Dr. Mel, just being a physical therapist and an energy worker, what is your perspective on healing?
Yeah, I feel like in my line of work as a physical therapist, sometimes it may seem physical, but a lot of the times people aren't healing because maybe they're fearful of healing and they're holding back and not doing something or taking that next step because a lot of it's more fear-based and emotional-based.
They're tying their identity to the wounded or the person that can't walk, or that's their identity. So it's almost like they'd be losing that if they were healthy and vibrant. And
yes. So I feel like most of my work is to motivate them to take those steps that they're uncomfortable with, that they may not feel ready for. Like Janine said, they identify themselves as always wheelchair bound and not able to walk. So they're scared to take those first steps to use the walker. So a lot of my work is encouragement, motivation, to take those next steps forward. And you have to go through a mindset shift, a change in that identity. And sometimes it takes practice and time and a build of confidence, but you need sometimes a coach or a mentor to help you take that leap of faith.
Yeah. And we just want to encourage you that when you do have setbacks, that they're not failures, to not just get stuck there, because I think people get hard on yourself. So giving yourself self-compassion and bringing that into all of the lessons you learn, and to know that, healing is a spiral. It's not linear. Just holding on to that is going to really help you every time lessons do come up to not beat yourself up. There's really no point to beat yourself up. But for me, my perspective, obviously, as a business leader and just having personal relationships, I think healing for me and having more awareness and lessons learned just directly correlate with my business. A lot of times when they say business owners' whole work environment is a true reflection of who they are in their self-development. So I think being able to connect with a lot of people, different people, being more open to opportunities, open to relationships, open to just different perspectives. I feel like even in the sales business, like it's hard because some people just rub you the wrong way. They hit your triggers, or it's hard to deal with a lot of different personalities, even in the office environment and the employees, right? So it's like the more you're healed, the less triggers you have, the more you create abundance for yourself, because I can handle a lot of personalities that I couldn't handle a few years ago, especially in my 20s. You wouldn't see me handling with such patience and awareness than I do now. So that obviously reflects in my business and the abundance we create here.
It allows you to help so many more people when you let go of that. Like you let it deflect off of you and just keep moving on and keep sharing your knowledge and spreading your word and trying to help the client. And that's when you said it's not linear, it really rings a bell. That's something I say to my patients right away at evaluation. Don't get concerned that you're not going to see every day a steady progress. One day you may take 2 steps back and you may have a little bit more pain that day, but don't harp on that. Continue to take the steps forward. Continue to do the consistent practice. Follow my program. Continue to do the exercises every day. Do what you can on the bad day. It may not be as good as the day before, but then you'll see week to week, month to month, you'll notice the growth rather than. I
love that you say that, because it could be so connected to even like my yoga practice. Like I try and get on my mat every morning, but there are days that I don't want to get on my mat. But there's days I get on my mat and I'll like lay in child pose for 10 minutes, and then I'll lay in but it's like for me, I'm still getting on my mat and I'm still showing up, and I'm not beating myself up because I didn't work hard or do the hardest power yoga that day. But for me, it was just creating that space for myself, and allowing myself to be. And I think a lot of times people get hard on themselves. So finding that compassion, and letting that transfer over into your healing as well.
Yes. Yeah. Showing up is the first step. And that's the main thing. Just hold yourself accountable, show up. You might not be able to put your best effort that day, but you try to do something, and that's enough. And just being present and there, that's all it takes sometimes.
And even for me, like, I think a lot of things I've been able to overcome with, limited beliefs. But like, even when I first started in sales, I was one woman of 25 men. And I was always like, is this industry for me? Do women succeed in this industry? Am I pretty enough? Am I charismatic enough to be a salesperson? Am I smart enough? Do I know enough things about finance to be selling loans and doing real estate and handling people's finances? And don't get me wrong, like still things come up. But it's like I'm able to switch now and able to see the resistance come up and push through it, rather than being stuck or like calling in and being like, I can't be on this podcast. Like, it's like, instead of being like, am I worth being on that podcast? Like, why was I even invited? Am I smart enough? What do I have to say? Of course, these thoughts come up. But guess what? I show up anyway, and I go through it because I know it's just in my head saying, Janine, you don't belong here. Like, you got the rising star. Who are you? Why would you get the rising star? Damn right I get the rising star. So it's just like, you have to like talk to that part of your brain that's like, you're not worth it. You're not worth having big dreams, big goals, all of that. You have to, just fight through it. So for me, a lot of journaling, affirmations, things like that. Like, healing is so all over the place. It's all different realms of physical healing, mental healing, energy healing, Maybe you could talk a little bit about energy healing, because I know you got your Reiki certificate.
So I have several clients where I do Reiki on, and they feel just such a release from the Reiki itself, because it's just I think it's taking time to just be. Have 45 minutes or 30 minutes where you're just laying there, allowing somebody else to take care of you. And you'll be surprised how many beautiful conversations I have with someone after a 30-minute Reiki session saying, did you notice this? Or I was starting to see these colors, and I felt just so relaxed, or a release over my heart and my stomach and my sacral area. And it's funny, and a lot of the times I do have a feeling when I'm over a certain area, and we are like, we're aligned, we're connected on where I felt most of her energy and most of her release. And then it actually brought up old emotions, or she brought up an incident that happened later early on this week that came up. So we are storing things in our body and in our conscious and in our aura, where Reiki is a beautiful thing, where it just allows you to release those emotions and talk about it. Half the session is me working on them, and then half the session is them just talking about what came up after the session.
Yeah, and talking is healing in general. It's a emotional release in general. Like I said, even in our last episode, if anyone watched the motherhood one, I mentioned there were thoughts about what postpartum depression might look for me, and how it felt so freeing when I simply just asked Melissa and my other sister, Christina, if they've ever experienced it. And I just had that community to talk to. So we do, suggest that if you are on a deep healing journey, to find your community. There's so many people out there on the same journey of curiosity, of self-development, and I found a community like that just by going to get my yoga certificate, and people who are just intuitive with their own self journeys and want to learn about their own emotions and releasing energies and moving energies throughout your body and just feeling lighter and more blissful.
Yeah, even just going, looking for a meetup for a walking group or something like that. You can find it in a simple thing. If Reiki or energy healing is not for you.
Yeah, it might be too woo-woo for some people.
Could be I went to, when I was in California, a women's gym. It was only for women. And I was like, I had such a beautiful community there. It just was something, it felt special just having that group of women that I just went to the gym with every day, so.
I love it. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in to this episode. I hope this episode resonated with you. Please like and subscribe our channel. It would mean a lot for us. And make me and Melissa part of your community. We're always here to answer any questions, whether you're in a healing journey or a motherhood journey. We're here to definitely connect with you all. We love answering any questions and reaching out and answering anything you might have. So please keep tuning in for the next episode of Blissful Beings.